G'day guys, how you going? How are you holding up with the trade period? Oh, it's a marathon, isn't it? I think this is the biggest. Feels like this is the biggest thing, even nearly as big as the footy season. I think it goes grand final or finals, trade period, home and away season, draft. Trade period's huge. It's frustratingly huge, but it's huge. And the more we whinge about it, the bigger it becomes. The more exposure it gets. My strategy is pretty simple. I don't listen to a second of trade radio. I used to. I can't handle the ads for a start. But maybe every 2 hours or every hour or so, I'll jump on social media and just check the updates. And then most nights I'll tune into the Fox Footy show they have that goes for a half an hour, which is quite good. They just go through the major news of the day. And it's going to finish tomorrow night. And it's certainly heating up, particularly in regards to Charlie Curnow. But it can be unbearable. I'm not here to talk about that though. I kind of am because Elijah Hollands hasn't found a home yet. And the more it goes on, who knows what's going to happen by 7:30 tomorrow night. But maybe a club will take a punt on him. Maybe he will get picked up. Or maybe at 7:30 tomorrow night, he's still a Carlton listed player for the next 24 hours or 48 hours or whatever it is. This is my wish. And please, in the comments below, I don't want you to speculate on any sort of rumours you hear about Elijah Hollands, because I'll just delete them. And kind of try and be respectful as well, because it is kind of a sensitive issue. But my wish is, and maybe I'm a little bit naive myself. My wish is, come 7:30 tomorrow night, and Elijah hasn't been picked up by another club, and I hope he does. I kind of hope he doesn't, because it then forces us to make a decision. I feel like it's going to end badly for Elijah if he doesn't get picked up. That's my feeling. But my wish is, doesn't get picked up by another club, and Nick Austin, Graham Wright, Chris Davies, Michael Voss sit down on Thursday morning. This is number one on the agenda. And they really talk it through and go, yep, we're going to welcome this young man back to our football club. And we're going to look at all the strengths and all the things that he can bring. And he certainly hasn't brought those in 2025. It's been a disastrous season for him. And maybe he's lost the trust of the playing group. Maybe he's burnt too many bridges. I'm not quite sure. But my hope is he's a Carlton player in 2026. And maybe I am delusional. What are your thoughts? This is why. Okay, I'm going to try and explain why. I feel like we're probably in a lot stronger position with Chris Davies arriving at the football club, with Graham Wright now in his official role and been at the club for 6 or 7 months, with a bit of a reset with certain players. And I'm not blaming this on the players that have left. I'm putting that on the table. So please don't misinterpret what I'm saying here. I'm not blaming this on TDK. I'm not blaming this on Silvani. I'm not blaming this on Charlie Curnow. I'm just talking about, we're probably in a better position now from an environmental and a reset point of view for this guy to see out his contract at least in 2026. With Chris Davies, the experience of Chris Davies and the experience of Graham Wright, and a bit of a reset. He's a super talented footballer. He gives us a point of difference. But more than that, I go to just about every open training session, and he is the one player that, from a supporter and fan point of view, that your eyes gravitate to. He just brings an incredible amount of energy to the group. He's up and about. He's constantly encouraging. He brings the fun. And this is generally to a pretty sort of meek and mundane group. And I feel like as much as he's brought some heat on himself and the group across the course of this year, that surely we can give this kid a second chance. He has not had his contract terminated. And if he'd done something like very, very serious, so he breached the club's and the AFL's code of conduct, then the club could just terminate his contract, because it's been done before. Josh Bootsma had his contract terminated in 2014, and Tom Williamson had his contract terminated in 2022. So it can be done. We are just in a position, and I think this will probably happen, that we are willing to pay out his contract, which I would think would be about $350,000 to $400,000. I'm not quite sure if that's the exact amount. That's a lot of money. So he must have done or behaved in a manner which the club feel like potentially there's no hope. I hope that's not the case. I really do. And if we go back to Peter Ryan's article from the weekend, I mean, you feel like this is only part of the story. And Peter Ryan, who I actually know Pete pretty well, he's a ripping man and a fantastic journalist. And he can only write what the player, and it's big news. It's big news. So, of course, he wants to interview him, but he can only write what the player wants to share. Okay, and Elijah is pretty keen, probably through his management, orchestrated by his management, to get into another club, this sort of propaganda, sort of fluffy piece, to shine a light on the personal issues that Elijah was struggling through in a much lonelier place, rather than the sort of the public sort of rumours, basically he was living this sort of fast partying lifestyle. But there has to be something else going on. But please, once again, no, don't fuck it. I don't want any rumours, okay? It's what we know, what has been reported from the horse's mouth, which is the club and the player concerned. So that's my hope. Now, when we brought Elijah to the football club at the end of 2023, I'm not saying we set this kid up to fail. Okay, I'm not blaming the club for where it's ended up now. But I also want to put a few things on the table here. Okay, we knew that he had a drug charge, okay, from his time on the Gold Coast Suns. At the end of 2023, when we made a decision to bring him to the football club, we then found out, before we wanted to bring him in, we offered him a 3-year contract on worth about $1 million a year. Then we found out, which wasn't public at the time, that he had this drug charge hanging over his head for possession of cocaine in the Star Casino that he had to face court for. Then we decided, no, we're not going to give you that 3-year contract. We're only going to give you a 1-year contract to come to the football club for the season 2024. And you have to work your ass off to prove yourself. Okay, and I'm sure there were probably some other issues with Elijah Hollands at the Gold Coast Suns, some teething problems, some challenges. Unlike a lot of other kids in the AFL system, moving away from home, things he were battling. But at the end of the day, he played 14 games in 3 seasons, had a few injuries along the way, and this is a top 10 draft pick. And the Gold Coast Suns were happy to move him on. We pretty much got him for nothing, all right, in regards to draft picks, a swap of later picks. I think we gave them pick 26, they gave us 28 back. So it was virtually, we got the kid for nothing. Plus we knew about his problems. Well, did we know about potentially all his problems? But this is what? I don't think we were in a great position, what we thought we were. I know we were coming off a 2023 prelim final win, so it looked like we were gaining momentum. There was a lot of hype around our football club. Okay, we were flying off field in regards to membership. But how did 2024 and 2025 pan out? What about the comments made by Michael Voss at the John Nichols Medal presentation night? questioning the environment of the football club, the resilience, the culture. So back when we decided to take a punt on a risk, when you're facing drug charges and you're bringing a kid into your football club, you better have your shit in order. Leadership, environment, culture. And I reckon we thought we did. I think we thought we were better than what we fucking actually were. This is what our former, head, of footy, GM, Brad Lloyd, said about Elijah Hollands. Once it was made public that he'd gone to court, he copped a 2-year good behaviour bond, escaped conviction, a criminal conviction, but still serious. Okay, Elijah made a mistake. Okay, he told us about this prior to joining the club regarding this situation and has taken full ownership of what a poor decision it was. Our strong leadership we have at this football club, this is what he said, our strong leadership at this football club will allow Elijah to enter our environment with the support he needs, and just like any other player who walks through our doors, he will get to work on earning the respect of his teammates from day one of pre-season. Okay, that's fine. Earning the respect, head down, bum up type thing on a 1-year contract. Prove yourself. Prove yourself you want it, okay? Prove it to the whole group, prove it to the club, but at the same time, we have the framework, the strong leadership framework to support you along the way. Okay? So since that time, this strong leadership that's going to support players like Elijah Hollands when they come into the football club. At the start of 2024, we put Charlie Curnow into the leadership group. Now, I'm not blaming Charlie Curnow for what has happened to Elijah Hollands, but what type of joke is that, guys? Tell me, what type of joke is it to have Charlie Curnow join a leadership group that comprises Patrick Cripps, Jacob Wiedering and Sam Walsh? And the way Charlie has conducted himself over the last 12 months or so, and now wants out of the football club. So Brad Lloyd is saying this is strong leadership. This is our strong leadership. Even Wiedering, Walsh and Cripps have continually, since the end of 2023, 2024 and 2025, have questioned the resilience and the leadership of this football club. That it isn't, even our skipper, that it isn't a fully professional club. And then Michael Voss gets up at the presentation night at the John Nichols Medal and questioned the environment once again. This is an environment that Brad Lloyd said was strong, that could support Elijah Hollands. Now, I'm not saying even the strongest of environments he wouldn't have gone off the rails again. But you can't tell me of what's transpired over the last 2 years at our football club and all the messaging coming from the club about our environment and how poor it is, and the fact that Tom De Koning, Jack Silvani and Charlie Curnow, three players have been at our club for 10 years, want out. Why do they want out? Because the environment's not great. And here we are in a situation where we're going to turf a kid out. All right, thinking at the time when we brought him in, our environment was fantastic when it was not. It was not. And to finish off with this also goes to the point of a club which really kind of didn't know what it was doing with Elijah Hollands. Buckled, jumped at shadows. Do you know how long, and he's coming into the football club, huge risk. Sure. He put his head down, his bum up, he got to work, He kind of earned the respect of his teammates throughout the preseason of 2023 into 2024. He got a 2-match ban from the AFL for bringing the game into disrepute, which he had to serve at the start of the year. So he missed the first 2 games. Do you know, okay, the club said he has to come in and earn the respect, earned his spot in the team. Do you know once he finished that 2-match suspension, he didn't go to the VFL. He didn't even play the game. He didn't even go to the VFL. Didn't play one game in the VFL. Strong football club, a Geelong, a Sydney, a Brisbane would have said, no, you're a super talented kid. You've worked your butt off, but you're now going to go spend 2 or 3 weeks in the VFL to really, okay, put your name up. But no, he came straight into our team. And to his credit, he's a super talented player. He played the next 12 games. In fact, he played 22 games for the season. But you know what? When do you think the club buckled? This is a kid, a huge risk, that they then sat him down with his management and gave him a 2-year extension on that 1-year contract, meaning he'd be at the club until the end of 2026 after fucking 12 games of senior football. What sort of club, with a kid coming in with big question marks on him around his habits, and sure, he did the right thing, played some good footy, worked hard, because that's what he had to do. You would sit him down after 12 games of reasonably good football and say, oh, we need you here now. You're going to sign now. We're going to give you a 2-year contract now on top of the year you got now, which means you're going to be at our club until the end of 2026. It's appalling. So we're now in a situation 12 months down the track that this kid's gone off the rails, and there's all these question marks around our environment coming from within the club, from our coach, from our captains, massive changes. I don't think, without evidence, guys, there, that I feel like we were setting this kid up to take his eye off the ball. I got no doubt in my mind, and I'm going to finish off on this, that if Chris Davies and Graham Wright had been at the football club in 2024, when we made a decision to bring Elijah in with the big risk, that he would have got to that point in time after 12 games of good football, that they would have said, no, we're going to wait to the end of this year to sit you down. So finish off 2024. You're playing well. We'll work with you and we'll sit down at the end of 2024 and we'll work out something then. And I've got no doubt that they would have said, we're going to give you another 1-year contract and that's it. Okay, and we'll continue to work with your issues that you're facing potentially off field as well. It's a very sad situation. I hope like hell that it can be resolved. And I know this club needs to get serious. I mean, at times we need to be brutal. But there's a part of me that thinks, what was he coming into? As much as he's done some things that he'll probably regret for the rest of his life, what was he coming into? It wasn't great. Anyway, I'll leave it at that. Tell me what you think in the comments below.